Shaw. Du, the UAE's new telecoms provider, has announced its audited 2006 fourth quarter and full year 2006 financial results. The results showed a net pre-operating cost of 280.3 million dirhams for the quarter to the 31st of December 2006, bringing total net pre-operating costs for the period from the 28th of December 2005 to the 31st of December 2006 to 608.9 million dirhams. Starting on the 25th of February, Du will have a significant presence in all 7 Emirates through 9 wholly owned Du shops and kiosks, 90 premium dealers and over 1,000 other points of sale. Earlier on, I spoke with Osman Sultan, Du's CEO, and first of all asked him to tell Inside Business about his background and what experience he brought to Du.
Well, actually, my background, today I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Du. Previously, I was holding the same function in a mobile operation in Egypt. And I helped setting up this operation something like 10 years ago, and I have been heading this operation for 8 years prior to coming here in the last part of 2005, beginning 2006, to set up the Du operation that was licensed in February 2006 to provide full-fledged telecommunication services in the UAE.
What challenges did you face that were different from working in telecoms in Egypt and setting up Du here in the UAE?
First of all, the challenges that we are facing in Du, one can easily say they are unprecedented. And allow me please to maybe state in few bullet points some of these. One, it's an unprecedented situation that in a country at the time where the second player is entering the market, the level of penetration of services, one can say the level of saturation, if we're talking the mobile telephony, for instance, is at this level, is so high. So that sets a unique challenge. Obviously, this was not at all the situation in Egypt, where we just entered a market that is, was so lowly penetrated. So the challenge, the nature of the challenge was different. The level of expectations of customers in this market, due to the all what has been offered by the current operator, by the incumbent operator, the level of expectation is very high, and we know that this is a challenging but very exciting and very stimulating dimension as well of our equation. Last but not least in this is that, as I mentioned, this company is licensed to provide the entire spectrum of telecommunication services, while the operation I was heading was a mobile-only operation. So here we are starting by the offering mobile services, but this is in the broader picture of really moving towards the convergence of telecommunication services and the putting the company and setting up the entire organization to support this model of conversions in order to take advantage of what we see more and more, where you don't distinguish anymore between telecom applications, in the sense that you are now doing more on your mobile phone of things that you used to do on your computer, on your laptop. You are doing things on your laptop that you used to do on your TV. Applications are really getting conversion, and that's really offering a great potential. And the last point that I would mention in this difference is that the founders of this company decided that this company will do with its own resources. This company did not partner with an international or regional operator, but decided to do with its own resources and to build this entire equation with own resources. And I think this is as well, we don't see it much as a challenge, but we see it as well as a great opportunity.
Now, you mentioned the penetration of the UAE mobile market, which at the moment is very, very high. Are you then looking to the future, when obviously numbers are going to gain in momentum? I mean, more people are going to start living here in the UAE in order to make your returns.
Well, yes, you're absolutely right. In the plan, we definitely factor the extraordinary growth that this nation is seeing. I mean, the success of the actions that the policymakers in this country have put in place to attract investment and stimulate this growth is something on which we are basing as well our equation.
It seems to me that it's kind of developing like Do will come out with a special offer, and then Etisalat will try and beat that offer, and vice versa. Is this going to be something, do you think, that's going to be a case of catch me if you can?
We will come with a better offer. Our competitor will try to do the same or even do something different. We will then try to do something better, something different, and that's the name of the game.
Where did the name come from?
Well, the choice of the name followed some criteria. First of all, we wanted something that, in the sound, in the logo, in the way it is pronounced, can express the openness that you can see in this part of the world. We wanted something that could reflect the dynamism that you can see in this part of the world.
Now, in the setting up of Do, were you given a certain amount of money and told you go off and set up a telecom company, don't overstretch that limit, or in fact, has it cost a lot to set up and you have gone over that limit?
It's not me. It's a whole structure that has been set up. I have been assigned an executive role in that, and we have an entire framework of governance, and we are very keen really in moving into this. But the shareholders, the founders of this company, have put a capital. Our capital, the paid capital, was 4 billion dirhams, and this the idea was that within the plan that has been put, and this plan has been according to rules of disclosure put in the prospectus that we have issued to the market at the time of the IPO of the company. So this homework was done, and this capital should take us at least to a certain level in the life of this company. And the way it works is that the governance body, the board of directors of this company, representing the shareholders, follow exactly how we have been. As far as how much it cost, I think that all these numbers have been disclosed. We have disclosed our pre-operating expenses to the end of 2006. This has been disclosed to the market according to the proper rules, and this will continue to be the case. I avoid, to go into figures, not to say that we don't want to, but I think there are rules for a publicly traded company in releasing or disclosing numbers or figures or whatever, whether it's on subscribers, revenues, etc., because every quarter the company will be issuing a clear statement on its financials, and that will be the reference in which we can interact and, disclosing figures.
Now, we know that Do and Etisalat have government involvement of different percentages. Do you think that people in the UAE expected, though, for this telecom company to be completely private?
I think that Do has been created under the framework of the liberalization, progressive liberalization of the telecommunication sector. The authorities and the decision makers in the country have put clearly a roadmap for this. So maybe to address the first point of your remark, I don't think that people in the beginning were expecting Do to be private. From the day one, from the day of the announcement that there will be a second player, it has clearly been stated that this will be the structure of, or the equity structure of this operation, and that this is part of a roadmap in going forward and the privatization. That's the format that the authorities of this country have decided. There are very good and valid reasons for this in regard to the existing situation, because I think what everybody is looking after is to ensure that you create value in the sector.
Now, do you think as mobile phone users at the moment we're getting a good deal? Because really nothing's changed over the last decade. I mean, 3G kind of failed.
Well, the experience of European operators in 3G has been, in the beginning, a little bit disappointing. We can see now that things are ramping up, you know, because, again, we shouldn't make the mistake to think that once the technology is there, this means that this application is successful. You need the technology. You need the framework in which this technology is offered to customers. For instance, when it comes to 3G, 3G, simply for you know, the audience, is the ability to vehicle faster, much bigger objects that you want to take. Things that would, for instance, if we're talking TV, with the last, you know, upper part of the 2G type of things, it is still not such an experience. 3G will allow this, but if the technology is in itself there, doesn't mean that you have the content, that you have the proper offers, pricing. It doesn't mean that you have the proper awareness. It doesn't mean. So I think that what will happen here is that we will benefit from other experiences.
Now, Du is only just launched, but there are already rumors of a third mobile operator in the UAE. What's your comment on that, and what's your feeling about competition?
Well, I don't think it's appropriate for me to comment on any story. For this, I would refer you to the authority that can make any comment on that, whether there will be or there will not be. Ultimately, and I am referring to the declaration of, you know, the authorities of this country, yes, there will be other players. When? That's, I think, up to the proper authority that give the license.
Now, for you, Osman Sultan, the CEO of Du, what kind of personal journey has it been for you setting up Du?
Well, if you just go back to what I mentioned in the beginning of our interview, the specific challenges of Du makes me feel that I'm really very privileged to be given this opportunity to lead in this way of being able to bring different words together and to bring different people together and to make a space for creation, for creativity, for production, for efficiency. That in itself, I think, translates the excitement and the passion that I'm going through.
Osman Sultan there, CEO of Du, talking about the UAE's new telecoms provider and what has been the biggest change to the telecommunications sector here in the UAE since Etisalat began 31 years ago. Coming up now, let's take a look at the price of oil and the precious metals.